All right, so my name is Chloe. This is some flow yoga for you. Before we get started, I'm going to let you know that we need maybe a blanket today. If tabletop gets a little bit rough for you, you might want a little bit of cushion underneath your knees. And we also will need a block today. And I will let you know when you might need that block or some other sort of tool that helps you latch onto the floor a little bit more or steady yourself. So I'll give you a second if you want to go grab either of those things, or just otherwise settle yourself into a comfortable seated position. We are just going to begin at first with a little intention. So settle yourself into whatever pose you've chosen. Close your eyes or keep your gaze soft. And begin to simply sit with yourself and your body. Breathing in and out. I have a point of inspiration today. Words from a famous Vietnamese Buddhist monk. It is, to meditate means to go home to yourself. Then you know how to take care of the things that are happening inside of you, and you know how to take care of the things that happen around you. I think of yoga as a sort of meditation. Throughout any yogic practice, you go through any number of thoughts, any number of emotions, and the whole point is to keep your gaze soft and try to come back to the focus, to your breath, and to what your body is experiencing in real time. And I think being able to access that place at any given moment is a really important tool. So that's why yoga has improved my life. And I hope you find some moments of meditation in your practice today. All right, so we're going to begin on our backs. Slowly settling ourselves in. Tucking our shoulders back a little bit. And here in this pose, going to inhale, exhale. Just kind of take stock with where our bodies are at right now. We're going to bring our knees in. Now, this is a little bit weird, but we're going to sort of do a reverse child's pose. So if you know child's pose, normally you're facing the floor and you're bringing your big toes to touch. Your knees are spreading outward and your hands are stretching out in front of you. So instead of grabbing onto the floor, we're just going to stretch our open palms out above us, still keeping those shoulders a little bit tucked. And we're just going to kind of imagine what our backs and minds are doing when we're in child's pose. Sort of tucking the chin in a little bit, letting the back of the neck breathe a little bit. And we're just letting gravity open up our hips a little bit here. Just kind of exploring what it feels like to not have gravity on your side here. Rocking left and right a little bit. Breathing. And then on inhale, we're going to place our palms back at our sides. We're going to just lazily, gently lift our legs up into Camel Pose. So that just means your legs are outstretched over your hips. Your feet are facing the ceiling. You're pointing your toes, you're flexing your toes. You're starting to get a little bit of momentum going. Kind of feel your tummy start to be a little bit more engaged here as you try to keep your legs a little bit straight. I'd recommend bending one leg and then the other. Just starting to wake everything up, waggling about before finding a point of stillness. Straightening, Keeping those toes a little bit spread, pressing your palms against the floor, finding that point of stillness in the present moment. And we're just going to breathe here for one moment. Inhale and exhale, bending those knees. We're going to hug our shins in to a little itty bitty ball. Giving ourselves a moment of affection here. And then letting our neck curve back onto the floor. We're going to let our knees roll over to the left side of our mat in a gentle supine twist. Keeping those knees together, maybe holding them down with your left hand. We're going to stretch the right arm out to the other side, looking in whatever direction feels comfortable. Starting to breathe into that twist. Can you engage different parts of your body to emphasize just a tiny way that spinal twist? And then on an inhale, bring your arms to a T, pressing on both palms. We're going to lift our legs up back to center. And then squeeze ourselves into another ball hug, rocking left and right. Just opening up the spine a little bit more. Then resting those shoulders, that neck down. We're going to bring those knees over to the right side of our mat. And then stretch our left arm out to the left. Breathing into this expansive twist. Starting to notice the edges of our body waking up. We roll the wrists a little bit. Still playing with the toes. Bringing the arms to a T. We're going to press on our palms, engaging our stomach a little bit to very mindfully lift ourselves back to the center. Going in for one last hug, so make it nice. Squeeze yourself up into a little ball. And then your hands are right by your shins. We're just going to put them underneath our shins, hugging the bottoms of our thighs. We're going to begin to rock our feet up and down a little bit, rocking and rolling along our spine. If this is uncomfortable, I recommend meeting us in tabletop, but I find that this wakes up my spine really nicely. So maybe one or two more rolls and then cross your ankles at the end. And we're moving to tabletop pose. Hands are under shoulders, knees are under hips. We're tucking our toes or we're leaving our feet flat on the floor. At first, we're just finding our stable still point here. Straightening out the spine, pressing against the floor, finding that extra bit of energy. On an inhale, we're going to look up to the sky, lifting our tailbones, letting our stomachs fall soft, cow pose. I like to move the hips left and right here. Just kind of savoring the wake up quality to this. Try rolling your shoulders, breathing into your neck and collarbones. And on the exhale, gradually achingly curve the other way, cat pose. Letting the crown of the head be heavy, tailbone be heavy. We're moving left and right. We're opening up the back, the shoulders, the back of the neck. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And then back to a neutral tabletop. On an inhale, we'll lift our left arm. And on an exhale, we'll lift our right leg. At first, just trying to adjust, come back to even, keeping our torsos flat and neutral, playing around with this balance, finding your focus, noticing your breath more. We're going to inhale once here, stretching our limbs apart. And on the exhale, we're going to leave our left hand as is, left arm, and we're going to open up the hip on the right side. So curving the knee around our side in a fire hydrant kind of pose. until circling back into that straight leg. So it's just moving your knee in a circle around your side while your left arm is lifted. Inhale, straight legs spreading apart. Exhale, curve that knee in, opening up the hip a little bit, curving the spine. Exhale, back to straight. We'll move back to tabletop through a round of cow and cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Stretching the shoulders apart. And then coming to neutral, we'll lift our right arm and our left leg shooting back behind us. We're stretching apart for a moment, just trying to adjust, finding that center point. And then keeping that right arm exactly as it is. We're going to bring that knee over to the side, trying to keep our bodies even before shooting it back out again. So inhale, curving that knee over to the side, noticing how your body wants to adjust, and exhale, shooting back. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale, curving that knee around, curving the back, letting your body warm up. Exhale, straight as an arrow. And then gently coming back to tabletop. You're going to move through one more round of cow and cat at your leisure. Move your hips, move your arms. And then we're going to move one handprint, our hands one handprint in front of us. We're going to tuck our toes. We're going to lift into our first downward dog of the day. Lifting those hips, pressing into the soles of our feet until our hips are lifted in an inverted V. Our armpits are opening up here. Our head is heavy, our neck is long. And we're just lifting. We're not depositing our weight into our hands. We're pressing our fingers evenly into the ground. Your heels don't have to touch the ground, but maybe lift your toes, helping to find that sense of foundation here. Bending one leg and then the other. Grip your fingers a little bit more into the mat. Look in front of you. We're going to prepare to jump to the front of our mats, bending our legs, inhaling, the hips a little bit higher, looking forward, gripping our fingers into the mat. On an exhale, evenly jump to a ragdoll pose at the top of your mat. Forgiving yourself, just letting it go. We're going to let our legs bend. We're going to let our top half just spill out onto our legs, grabbing either elbow if that helps. We're going to just let our top halves be totally heavy, almost limp. And we're breathing into our lower back, but we're not worrying about our hamstrings so much. We're just trying to open up that lower back, get some blood to our heads. Noticing our breath, lifting our toes, finding the four corners of the feet. We're going to inhale, halfway lift, rolling the shoulders back, engaging the stomach to lift that spine straight and true. So the crown of your head is being pulled by a string, trying to get air to our spine here. You're going to breathe here just for a moment, savoring the expansiveness of halfway lift. Our ribs are spiraling outwards, our shoulders are back. We're breathing into the backs of our necks. One beautiful inhale here, feeling energized. And on the exhale, fold forward again, hips high in the air. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bending the left leg, planting the left hand in between the feet, just in front of your face. We're going to lift the right arm into a gentle twist. Exhale, center. Plant that right hand where the left one was. Bend your right leg. Straighten that left leg and lift your left arm. Spiraling outward. You can look up or down, either way. Getting some breath into us, getting some life into us. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then, very mindfully, we're going to begin to roll ourselves up to mountain pose. Slowly but surely, trying to wake up your body from the feet upward. We're going to slowly roll, keeping everything strong. As it rises up, we raise our arms above us, looking up at the sky or the stucco ceiling, and exhaling, hands to heart center, pressing the palms against each other. We're going to close our eyes or keep our gazes soft, and we're just going to find that center point. We're going to find our own perfect version of mountain pose. So we're tucking the tailbone in just a little bit, keeping those hips nice. We're not dunking all our weight into our hips. We're not locking our knees. We have found the four corners of our feet. We're not locking our knees. Our legs are engaged but straight. Tucking the hips, the tailbone in just a little bit. Making sure those shoulders are melted onto our backside. Shoulders over hips. Crown of the head's reaching up for the heavens. Inhale the arms above yourself again and exhale. Find yourself at heart center, totally focused and ready to go. We'll inhale here, finding your intention again. And exhale it all out. Inhale the crown of the head up. And on the exhale, we're going to bend into just a little baby chair. Just warming up. We're looking down at our feet. We're making sure everything is solid. And we're just starting to warm up the lower half here. So make it as gentle as you want. Make sure you can see your toes. Your knees aren't going over your feet. Keep your torso light and straight. And just engage the legs, engage the butt. There's so many muscles down here that we're not paying attention to. Lifting the crown of the head still. We're going to be here for one more moment. One inhale here, pressing your palms together. One exhale here. Pausing on the exhale for the briefest moment. And on that next inhale, we're going to stretch back up to mountain pose, adding a bit of a back bend if that feels nice for you. Exhale, letting your hands fall. We're going to swan dive our way to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Letting your fingertips rest in front of your feet, just like so. We're going to start to shift our weight to our left foot. Watching our right foot just start to peel up. Trying to adjust, noticing how our body wants to adjust balance-wise. Try to keep our hips even as possible. It's okay if you want to put a little bit of weight into those fingertips. We're going to just stretch that right leg behind us. And just warming up standing splits, okay? So it's okay if your left leg is a little bit bent. We're just communicating with wherever our bodies are at right now. You want to lift that leg as high as you can, while still keeping it reasonable. Finding your own edge, letting your top half tip forward just a little bit. We're rolling the ankle, just exploring this sort of baby standing splits. I'm so sorry, just brain fart, you know? I'm planting my right foot behind me finally, and I'm setting that right knee down, pausing for a moment here. We're rolling the shoulders back, still on my fingertips, finding the four corners of the left foot. I'm lifting my chest up. I'm preparing. I'm pressing the top of my right foot into the floor. lifting up to a kneeling crescent lunge. Okay, so you might want to adjust. You don't want your knee too far. You want to be able to see your foot, and you want the knee above the ankle. So that might mean that you have to deepen your stretch a little bit. But, okay, so shoulders are over hips. We're reaching up. Our pinkies are tilted a little bit inward. And our shoulders are exhaled down. Not like, don't strain yourself. We're just breathing up and allowing the shoulders to fall just a little bit. Keeping it nice and gentle. We're breathing to the crown of our head still. Pressing that back foot into the floor. Inhaling everything up. Exhale, twist over to the left and open twist. Hands stretching apart. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist over to the right. Noticing how your right hip wants to open up a little bit. Fingers stretching apart. Inhale, center. And then plant those fingertips to frame the left foot. Begin to straighten that front foot, front leg, into half splits. So we're straightening that front leg and we're slowly lifting that front foot. And we're finding our own half splits here. Just looking for a nice hamstring stretch happening here. Make sure you can still move your foot. Make sure everything's feeling good. Shift your hips left and right a little bit. Find that comfort point. Making sure that you're hinging from the hips. You can put a little bit of weight into your fingertips. We're just going to breathe into our lower back here. Stretching those toes apart. One inhale here. Exhale. Begin to press into the sole of that foot again, lifting up into crescent lunge. And take an inhale here. On the exhale, cartwheeling the hands to frame that foot, straightening into side splits or half splits. Just one more time. Savoring the moment. You can always grab the outside of your left foot and stretch the left arm up above you, if that feels good. If it doesn't, I recommend you do not do it. On inhale, we're planting the fingers on either side of our foot. We're tucking that back foot. We're lifting our legs. And we're just finding a lunge right here. Shifting forward and backward on our toes. Just warming up. Keeping it nice and easy. Stretching out that back leg. On an inhale, we're going to spiral the shoulders back. Preparing to step right back into forward fold. So inhale, prepare. Exhale. Forward fold. Bending one leg and then the other, letting your head fall. Just breathing. We're going to inhale halfway left. Exhale, fold. Shifting the weight to our right foot. Our weight is a little bit in our fingertips here, right in front of our feet. We're going to find the four corners of our right foot and begin to peel that left foot up, watching it stretch out behind us, keeping our hips as even as we can. We're going to just savor this standing split for a little bit, letting our top half fall forward a little bit. On every inhale, you can experiment with finding your own halfway lift here, creating a little bit of space for your shoulders to exhale and deepen that fold just a little bit. Moving the ankle around, moving the leg around. We're going to plant that left foot behind us, resting that left knee on the floor. Inhale up to our kneeling crescent lunge. Again, finding that sweet spot where our knee is over our ankle. Our legs are feeling really good. We're getting a nice stretch here in multiple areas, the hips, the thighs. Our shoulders are over our hips. We're shooting our arms up, and we're shrugging those shoulders down just a little bit. We're feeling open. grateful and open. We're going to inhale those fingers up to the sky, just a little bit of a back bend here, and on the exhale, planting those fingertips, we're going to begin to move into our half splits, stretching that right leg till we find that sweet hamstring stretch, hips in the air. We're moving those toes apart, we're flexing that foot, and we're just breathing. Finding that peace within ourselves, finding that breath, finding this present moment. On an inhale, planting those fingertips, begin to put weight to the sole of your right foot. We're going to lift our arms, crescent lunge. Taking a gorgeous inhale here. And on the exhale, we're going to plant those hands and stretch back into our half splits. Hanging out here with fingertips on either side of our legs, or grabbing with our left foot the outside of our right leg and stretching out into a gentle twist, using our foot a little bit as leverage here for just a nice little side twist here. Alternatively, you can plant your left hand and just stretch upward a little bit. Either way, we are keeping it easy and nice. On an inhale, we're going to press into that right foot again. We're going to gently lift our back leg, tucking those toes. We're just going to begin to pulse a little bit, rolling our shoulders back, coming ever more lightly onto our fingertips, and pulsing on those toes, creating a little bit of energy, preparing ourselves, creating some momentum. Inhale, prepare. Exhale. Moving to forward fold. Let it all fall down. Let yourself bend a little more deeply here. Maybe you're grabbing your toes. Breathe into the backs of those legs. Allow them to open up. Give them oxygen with your breath. Inhale, halfway lift, pressing against your shins or the floor, straightening your spine. And exhale, fold. Bending the legs a little bit. We're going to plant the hands right in front of our feet and step back into plank pose. So shoulders are over wrists, and we're keeping our body straight. You can lower to your knees if you wish. Either way, the shoulders are just over the wrists, and our bodies are just totally engaged here. We're pressing against the floor, pressing the sides of our fingers against the floor. We're noticing our toe pads against the floor, even those are pressing our body away. And we're pushing here, we're keeping this engaged. Stay here for one inhale. And on the exhale, lower just halfway, keeping those elbows in, keeping the body totally engaged. Pausing here for just a moment before stretching into upward facing dog. Untucking those toes. Lifting those kneecaps off the ground, stretching the shoulders and the chest apart, straightening those arms. We're breathing open here. When you're ready, gently tuck those toes again, shifting into a plank, ever briefly before hinging at the hips and coming to your own downward facing dog. Breathing here, pressing your body up against the floor, lifting those hips a little bit higher. Keep your breathing deep. We'll inhale everything up. And on the exhale, curving, waving the body forward into plank. We're going to move through our vinyasa one more time, lowering halfway. Lifting up, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Come into a child's pose just for a moment, bringing those big toes to touch. Knees as wide as the mat. We're pressing the palms against the floor. We're resting our head just for a moment, but we're keeping this a really engaged, playful child's pose. Moving the hips from left to right. Pressing those finger pads against the floor. Hinging yourself a little bit forward with your finger pads, moving those shoulders down the back. And delighting in this nice hip stretch here. All right. Gently, we're going to walk our hands in and move our knees in. We're just going to lay out on top of our legs again, grabbing the soles of our feet, coming to just a gentle, modified child's pose, feeling a little bit more contained, breathing into the curve of our backs, finding that meditative place of pure presence of mind. On an inhale, we're going to stretch our hands in front of us. We're going to lift those hips so that they're right over those knees and come to puppy pose. You might want to stretch the hands a little bit wider. You might want to rest your head on the floor or your chin, but this is mostly just a shoulder stretching maneuver. And we're just breathing into our back sides, into our sides. Pausing here for a moment. On an inhale, moving those hands in, tucking the toes, lifting the hips, engaging those hands first, making sure we're not putting our weight into our wrists. We're going to claw those hands in. We're really going to make this as engaged as we can, okay? So prepare, tuck your toes, lifting up to a really active downward dog. We're going to lift our right leg behind us, shooting it behind us, keeping it straight, keeping our hands gripping into the mat. Exhale. Bring that knee in, plant that foot in between your hands. We're going to rise up to a crescent lunge. Just for a moment, shoulders over hips, our back leg is strong. We're breathing into the stretch. Exhale. Flip that foot. Warrior two. We're as flat as a 2D plane. Our knee is over our ankle. We're stretching our hands apart. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Flipping that front palm, curving backward, keeping your legs exactly as is in this warrior two position. We're just stretching out, opening up that side body. Breathing into this beautiful stretch. You can wrap your left arm around you. Exhale, warrior two. On the inhale, we're going to move to side angle pose. So we're keeping the hips really open here. We're staying energetic in our side bodies and our top half. I'm just going to stretch forward, and there are a number of modifications you can do here. You can rest your elbow on your knee. You can stretch your arm against the side of your leg. But the goal here is to have your shoulders stacked on top of each other. We're still spiraling our hips open. Also spiraling our chests open. We're feeling a nice side stretch, a nice hip stretch. Breathing here. One more beautiful inhale. And on the exhale, gently come out of it by planting your left hand on the ground, shifting that back leg so that the toe is tucked. Our hips are more square. We're reaching up for a gentle twist, lifting that right arm, giving a bit of lift. Exhale, hands to frame that right foot, stepping that foot back, and moving into downward dog, or moving through your flow. Meeting in downward dog. Pausing for a moment, finding that engagement again. We're going to lift our left leg, stretching it behind us. And exhale, bend that knee, planting the left foot in between our hands. Rising up to crescent lunge just for a moment. And exhale, swinging that back foot, opening up for warrior two. Pausing for a moment to find our footing, make sure our feet are aligned, our hips are open, our knee isn't over our ankle. We're stretching apart. And then inhale, flipping that front palm, stretching back, reverse warrior. And exhale. Coming back to center. And then moving to stretch to the other side. Side angle pose, shoulders over each other. Opening up the hip. Wherever you're at, noticing knee or arm extended, noticing the relationship between your leg and your arm pressing against each other. We're breathing into our side body. One more inhale here. Exhale. Plant that right hand beside the foot. Tilt that back foot. Shifting the hips, moving the left foot over to the side a little bit. Gonna tap that toe and lift our left arm up for a nice twist. Breathing. Exhale. Planting the palms, stepping that foot back, and moving through our flow, or just hinging right away to downward facing dog. Breathing into that lower back. Bending one leg and then the other. We're going to slowly walk to the top of our mats and come into gorilla pose. Feet are about hip distance apart. You might want to tilt the toes outward a little bit or inward. They open up different parts of your body. I don't know, keep your feet straight maybe. We're gonna grab with our peace fingers, our big toes, bending our legs as much as we need to do so. Or we're gonna step onto the palms of our hands. We're just gonna let our heads rest heavy for a moment. Bending our legs as much as we need to get those hips a little bit higher. And just let your back body breathe. On an inhale, moving those fingertips in front of your feet, we're going to roll those shoulders back, halfway lift. Exhale, deepen that fold. Letting your head tip over. Just breathing. Noticing how deep your breath is. Noticing the energy running through your body. Now, this is the part in the class when you might want your block. So if you got a block, go and get it. Because we are moving into crow pose experimentation. So, first we're going to step into a yogi squat. You might want a block for this as well. Okay, I'll lead you into it first, okay? So we're going to tilt our toes outward at a 45-degree angle. We're going to inhale, halfway lift, getting just a nice little bit of length to our spine. Resting our fingertips on the floor in front of our faces. We're just going to gently put weight into our hips until we're sitting down in a nice yogi squat. It doesn't matter how far away your bottom is to the floor. You might want to get a block to sit on or support you somewhat. Either way, we're just pressing our arms into the inside of our legs. Finding a nice hip stretch here. Letting our bodies settle a little bit. We're just breathing into our hips. Finding a little bit of length in the spine and the torso in this folded up pose. And we're finding our toes again, trying to shoot those legs still into the floor, keeping our bodies engaged. And you can stay in this pose, just noticing the lovely hip stretch happening, or you can experiment with crow pose. And for those of you who do not know, it's going to involve some arm balancing. We're planting our palms, we're planting our palms in front of us. They're shoulder distance. We want our shoulders over our hands. We're going to begin to, if you're worried about falling, I would put your block kind of just in front of your head. just about 6 inches in front of your hands. But anyway, you shouldn't be too worried, okay? So we're gonna press into our palms to lift our hips a little bit, almost as though we're going into gorilla. And then we're gonna make a little shelf with our elbows, coming to our toes, preparing. We're pressing the sides of our fingers into the mat. And we're gently balancing our shins on top of our biceps. Coming to our toes at first in the center, like in child's pose, bringing our big toes together. We're just coming to our toes and just engaging our hands, beginning to lift those toes and come to a balance. Now the key to balancing is lifting your hips and just looking straight at the ground ahead of you. Pressing those palms into the floor, breathing. This is more just a balancing act, noticing the minute ways your fingers the ways in which you grip the mat can affect your sense of balance. Whenever you're done experimenting, we'll meet in child's pose at the back of our mats. So wherever you're at, just try to find that edge. Stay in crow a little bit longer, tilting that head forward until finally resting. Forgiving yourself. And just resting your forehead on the mat. Breathing deeply. Letting your body melt. Beginning to slow your breath. And then inhale, we'll press into our palms. Just enough to swing our legs underneath us and coming onto our bums. Our legs are bent. Our feet are hip distance apart. We're rocking on either side, finding our hip bones, finding a sense of peace here. And we'll inhale everything up toward the sky. On the exhale, beginning to melt everything down bit by bit onto the floor. Stretching the legs out long. Letting your body begin to settle. Noticing the ceiling above you. Adjusting your body as need be. We'll bring our arms out. We'll bring our arms out to a T. And we'll bring our knees in. Letting the knees spread a little bit, finding that strange reverse child's pose for a moment. Maybe you want to stretch your arms out a little bit. And we'll hug it in, finding a little ball shape. And then bringing those arms out to a T. We're going to move those legs over to the left side of the mat. Holding the outside of the right leg and stretching that right arm out over to the other side of the mat. Breathing into that stretch, trying to twist into it a little bit more with your hands. Bringing those arms out to a T. We're going to press into our palms again, finding that center point. Rocking from left to right a little bit. Inhale here, and on the exhale, mindfully moving those legs over. Before perhaps holding the outside of your left leg, just to deepen that twist a little bit. We're going to stretch over and look at our left hand. Letting your body begin to settle. Bringing those arms out to a T. Pressing into the palms. Bringing those hips to center again. Hugging the shins in. Just a little ball, little human balls. Oh God, I'm so sorry for that. So from here, we're gonna bring our hips to either side of ourselves. You can hang out here, or you can find your happy baby. Stretching those feet up to the ceiling, grabbing the inside of the feet or the outside. I'm just gonna gently press those feet down, pressing our lower backs against the mat. Bringing our shoulders down a little bit. And we're just finding a little bit of expansiveness here. Rocking from left to right. There are a number of ways to play around with happy baby. You might try lifting one leg and then the other, straightening it out, getting a bit of a nice hamstring stretch. I want to stretch the feet apart. Perhaps you want to focus on the hand-foot connection today, pressing against the soles of the feet and simultaneously kicking against your hands, creating a very energetic kind of hip opening experience. And when that doesn't suit you anymore, we're going to hug those knees in one last time. And bring our hands to either side of our body, pressing our palms against the floor. Finding a straight and long spine. Our necks are long. We're going to stretch those legs up into Camel Pose one last time. Noticing how much more energetically our feet press upward, our toes stretch apart. We're pressing our lower back into the mat, pressing our palms into the mat. Take a moment to appreciate your feet for all that they do. They look so strange, but they do so much for us. So thank you, feet. We'll inhale one last time here. And on the exhale, as slowly or as quickly as you would like, we're going to let those legs fall down to the floor. Taking on whatever pose you would like, we're going to go for one final stretch before corpse. So make it juicy. Take whatever movement feels intuitively right to you right now, like it's morning and you're just waking up. Stretching apart, we're going to inhale into this nice full body stretch, and on the exhale, slowly, bit by bit, just letting our bodies loosen. Taking on our final pose. Let your breath slacken. Whatever thoughts come to your mind, simply notice them. Here we are still focusing on our breath. Take this opportunity to focus only on your breath. Nothing else is moving. You're simply noticing how your breath fills and empties you. Noticing the quality of it. Appreciating the rise and the fall of your stomach and chest. Letting your limbs become heavier and heavier with every exhale. body is becoming heavier and heavier. You sink a little bit more at the end of every exhale. This right here is the precious present moment. It's just you and your breath right here, exactly in the now. With that in mind, begin to deepen your breath. Letting your body animate with it a little bit more. Sucking in the inhales a little bit more. Pressing the exhales out. Noticing the energy that creates in the middle of you. And how that energy extends. Start to move with it. Beginning to waggle those fingers and toes. Beginning to bend the knees and the elbows. Just delight in your deepening breath. Rolling the wrists. Moving the knees left and right. Rolling the ankles. Delight in a childish way for a moment in simply having a human body. And lightly, playfully, when you're ready, rock to your left or right side, coming into a fetal position, resting your resting your face on your bicep, your head, the side of your head. Bringing those knees in lazily. We're going to just relax for a moment here, letting our sides settle a little bit. Appreciating all that our bodies can do. Taking a moment to smile here, or to simply peacefully notice how easy and light being present is. Just totally present in your body. We're going to bring our top palm, top arm down in front of us, pressing the palm of our hands until we straighten our arms and lift our bodies, moving into a comfortable seated position, whatever that means for you today. But find whatever pose feels right for right now. And settle in for just a moment, keeping that spine long and tall, stitching our sides in a little bit. Chest is out. We're feeling confident. We'll inhale our arms up to the sky, stretching those fingers up, smiling. And exhale, hands to heart center. Taking a moment to rub the palms against each other, creating a little bit of heat, a little bit of spicy energy. And then letting your hands go apart. They're just an inch apart, and you can feel the vibration still between your palms. Bringing those palms together again. We're going to let our thumb knuckles come to our third eye center. Inhaling the crown of our head up a little bit. Before exhaling and bowing forward, just gently, just slightly. The human in me recognizes and appreciates the human in you. Namaste. I hope you were able to take care of some of your things during this practice, because it helps you take care of the other people in your life and the other things in your life. So it's important to practice yoga or just commit yourself to being present in your body and self. And that's my spiel anyway. So every Friday night, an hour before this class, you can check out Adventure Rock's A Night Out In. Jiu-Jitsu is taught tonight. It's going to change up every week, so if you have a skill you want to share with this community, a hobby, something of interest, please get involved and see if you can contribute A Night Out In. Either way, check it out on the Adventure Rock website. Do I have any other announcements? There's yoga at 11 a.m. tomorrow. I would check that out. I think that's all I have, except that I wish very deeply and genuinely that you have a lovely rest of your day, probably night, but also maybe day, depending on when you watch this. Let me know if you have any sort of comments, any sort of ideas, any kind of intentions or poses you would like to try with me. So have a great night. Appreciate you all. Until next time, that being next week, Friday at 8 p.m., if you so wish. Namaste.